organizational size, economic. So the whole problem that what I've been to summarize is, we seem to be disconnected from the business operations. You know, there was a time when I used to go into SAP clients, they used to say, no, we use all this ERP. So I used to ask them, okay, so you're using HR? No, HR is separate. HR, we are using, D-base, 3+. We are using something which was purchased. So HR can't do something different from the rest of the company. You have to talk the same stuff that you have to have interfaces. So where would this direction come? We need to be respected, and the respect, in my opinion, comes with the numbers. So the three metrics that I would really look at: the efficiency metrics, routine stuff, cost, TAT, turnaround time, ratio of employee cost to output value, isn't it? I see somebody yawning there, so I'll cover it quickly. Very difficult, ma'am. Am I making it tough for you? No? Okay. Thank God. Effectiveness metrics, relative measures to performance. Some of us who have gone through this once in 2 years, GAP scores, you know the power of this employee engagement score, isn't it? So these are effectiveness metrics. You really are questioned. And in one of the studies, I can tell you, it showed that the leadership team was disengaged. So don't think it's only the operational leadership. So when you talk about engagement, these engagement scores are something where you have to work on. These make a lot of messages. And we do come to this issue of predictive metrics. So how much can we predict? Like the example of Adidas I gave you, can it help me to prevent Adidas can position and get a 2 billion business, which Nike is not going to get, right? That's pure competition. It's a new business vertical that you have created, and it should drive. This big discussion we had with the chief technology officer, top 5 company. I was asking him, which I'm going to show you that slide, this business of revenue versus revenue per employee. So I asked him, versus those 2 companies, which is not the Indian company, I think your revenue per employee is not high. He said, Ranga, right, but in profit per employee, we are much higher. So, he's a chief technology guy. I don't want to name the company. This happened in IIT, this 15 days back. Very interesting discussion. Metrics, pure metrics. So let's look at the CLC, which suggested when a study was done. When you want to, what are the top 3 goals of HR measuring? Everybody talks about measuring. What do you expect from HR? Better alignment with the corporate strategy, enablement to take decisions. I need to take decisions here. I need to control cost. I need to demonstrate bottom line impact. Boss, I don't want theory. Ranga, I want research. So I want alignment, I want decision point, I want cost point. Please demonstrate to me. So at the end of the day, if you want this, what is preventing you? What is preventing us is quantifiably we are not able to link HR. We don't have value-added HR metrics. We don't have how many of us can boast of mid-range ERPs. Forget about large organizations working on SAP. SAP may not be required for mid-range clients. I'm not anti-SAP, by the way. I'm trained on SAP. I have worked on Ramco. But the point is, I don't want to convert this session into a ERP analytics session. I think it's much more than that. If you want to do ERP analytics, please call the IT guys. They'll do a better job than me. Our job here is to find out how do you actually transform. Ram uses this word driving. Now what this driving means is, to you and me, can we create a business impact? And that cannot happen if you're a service provider or just an enabler. You have to go beyond partnership. And as this will tell you, the time on sophistication and the business impact tells you, if you want to have driving kind of impactful kind of interventions, you need to be highly data driven and you need to be analytical, and you also need to know where to focus and what are the right measures which we need to do.
Andrea Hanley, Director of Global Sales, prepares for board of directors meetings. A new product line is being launched, so she needs to increase staffing. Her challenges? How quickly can new staff be hired and where to look for them? The board and CEO expect this product to grow sales by 30%. A few effective hires can be a test case for the board and proof of market acceptance for the CEO. Leveraging the power of NewView HR's metrics, Andrea can see that her department takes an average of 35 days to fill a position, compared to 45 days for the company. Historical data within NewView HR helps her determine the lead time needed to hire new staff. She also reviews the best hiring sources. The average tenure of the employees by hire source, and, most importantly, the average performance by hire source. Using NewView HR metrics, Andrea has all the information she needs to hire new staff in time for the product launch, and where to find the best people to hire based on historical performance, source, and tenure data. Meanwhile, in another meeting down the hall, board member Helen Webster is discussing the importance of investing in training programs. She's prepared to back up her assertion that targeted training translates into greater customer satisfaction and lower customer attrition. Helen knows that the metrics data in NewView HR will help her prove her point. She explains to the board that she's been tracking this data for over a year and points to the number of employees with training needs. Next, she focuses on the total number of employees with training plans in place as a percentage of total headcount. Helen also has the total hours spent on training as a percentage of the total work hours by department. And she's imported quarterly customer satisfaction data into NewView HR for better analysis. Having all this data within NewView HR, the impact of the company's training investment can be quickly evaluated by comparing employee salary costs and tuition against performance, customer satisfaction, and other crucial data points. Metrics information inside NewView HR enables business strategy and helps managers make actionable business decisions. Department heads can also get emails with the data. Here the manager clearly sees that the investment in training has resulted in improved customer satisfaction. John Walsh, the CFO, comments this type of quality information would normally have taken months to get. Congratulations, Helen. He wants to show this to his other portfolio companies.
That's an example of a good HR metrics. Such of you who manage to stay alive. Recruitment, hiring, recruitment by tenure, recruitment by vendor, quality of hiring, post-training, post-recruitment, you enter training information, linking of customer satisfaction, right? And training plans. So it's all metrics driven. There's no subjectivity in this. I will take it offline in case you want further clarifications on that. Another 5 minutes. Can I take Rob?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Fine. Now, what are the complaints against HR guys? We are talking today about HR analytics. How many of us know business analytics? Now, I work in a world-class manufacturing plant. It was the order of the day. You cannot survive as a manager there without knowing end-to-end processes, isn't it? I mean, no way you can sit in a TPM review. There's no way you can sit in an auditor's review. If you're one of the 12 managers sitting here, presided over by the chair of the council, isn't it? In the TPM charter, the total productive maintenance. At the end of the day, what all this means is your KPI, your overall equipment efficiency, your dashboards, inventory. All this is fairly rudimentary today, essentially made simple, trackable by any of these ERPs, isn't it? Working with large clients. So when we are familiar with all these things, I think the same thing applies to a workflows analytics. So my refrain would be here. This is a very interesting slide, a Deloitte slide, but makes very, very powerful impact. This is what I think today the technology companies are talking. Can we predict higher leadership potential? Can we predict skills which are needed in 2 years and 5 years? Can we have insight into informed strategic decisions? Can we even get to know? Can we retain a key talent, and who are the people, if I can use this word validly, who are likely to lead? I mean, I don't have an algorithm which will tell me that, but somewhere down the line, it's intelligence. It's validated data input. It's no more gas. Because I was talking to this technology officer who said, boss, I have 214,000 people. Don't ask me how many countries. 69,000 people, 32% I actually hired them this year. Is there any way I can track them? Is there any way sitting here I get to know? In fact, he said, my HR head cannot sleep if 200 people don't join today. The daily count is 200. So you are talking about global corporations which need to perfect analytics, which need to get validated information by the week, by the day, right? And I was talking to this organization which says, now we are reporting to Tokyo. And there is a daily report going on. Do you all know with the company that I am talking about? Don't you all know which company I am talking about? This Delhi-based pharmaceutical company. So when organizations change, right, review reports change, the first point of impact would be our analytics. So to come back and contextualize it, the first slide that I showed you in the trilogy, the creation, sustenance and destruction is what modern HR is using. On the left-hand side, you have the sustenance. On the second, you have the transformation phase. Many of us talk about the transformative agenda. I am contextualizing it for the company which I work for now. And then third one would be, can you disrupt yourself instead of the competitor? This is a very high level of business maturity, a high level of strategy, a high level of top leadership involvement in key organizational consensus building. So here we are talking about not only improvement, we are talking about radical disruptions. We also spoke about analysis here, and somebody told me, boss, what are we talking? We are today essentially talking about de-risking your business. We are not talking about succession planning because we have a professor coming from Harvard. We want to make him richer. He will anyway be richer without us. But the point is, can we actually de-risk our business? Right? So, can our organizations can be built to last? And it should also be built to change. And can we manage this change, which is anyway not continuous? Can we pick up what the troops of strength, your frontline troops? If you need to know, you need to have analytics. And by the way, can this process actually help us create a future organization? Right? And this is what I call this business of farming and fishing. Farming takes time. You need to nurture. But fishing, you get from outside. Right? The best of the technology companies still end up hiring 20-28% from outside, isn't it? The large organizations. Talent is not available. So how do you manage this farming and fishing? Through the help of analytics. And how do you ensure that you all know that an IQ gets you hired, but it's the EQ which is going to get you promoted, the softer skills that we are talking about, the competency framework that we are familiar with. So at the end of the day, when you are talking about relating and your organization is becoming younger, dealing with the Gen Y and getting these guys, depending upon the culture of an organization, at the end of the day, we end up relying on analytics. I'd like to part with two interesting slides which was in the media last week, I'm sure, just for our recollection. The top IT companies, I think I can name them. When I was looking at a very simple analytic, and strangely enough, today newspapers are also attaching importance to this. Revenue per employee. If you see September 9 and September 11, the top 5 companies, 2 of them have actually grown. 2 of them have not grown, and somebody has actually grown 10%. I'm not getting into any discussion here. It's just not to show that somebody is superior on that, but just to show that quite a number of top-level analytics is out in the market. We will, of course, not discuss profit per employee here. Similarly, health insurance. If you look at the best of the products in the market, today consumers, I had a situation where my union leader went to the court under RTI Act. He said, this information I have to get. The court, the court authority had to give that information. Right? I did not give that information, but he had information under RTI Act. So today information is available. We can all demonstrate this features and we can get to know. So analytics is actually going to be a great game changer. So to summarize, we have to contextualize this with the changing delivery models of HR. HR analytics should drive performance, it should create value, it should capture both qualitative and quantitative parameters, and it should help you to stay ahead of the competitors. Thank you.
There is a question from a gentleman by the name Govinda Rajulu. He's asking the question, if the management wants to introduce HR information systems in the organization, which will be good, either to develop internally or purchase ready-made packages readily available in the market like SAP, PeopleSoft. What is your suggestion? I think if I have to suggest as a member of an IT company, I would certainly tell you to go for a ready-made package, but just understand the whole thing. Before, most of these enterprise-wide systems, which are ready for small, medium, large, all kinds of enterprises have come into existence, which have incorporated the best of the HR practices already into those models. Trying to develop something within your own industry, which we have all done at some point of time before all these ERPs and other small, medium enterprise systems have come into the place. Many times I realize that we start developing a system, by the time the system analysts leave, the system drops halfway, nobody uses the whole thing. Unless you have the integrated systems which are providing inputs not only just to the HR department but are used by different departments and start becoming integral to the entire company's operations, then only it has got a good chance of really succeeding. Otherwise, as an IT company person, I can tell you 90% of the software projects which are started within the organizations do not get completed. So my recommendation is to go in for a system which has been developed by experts and which you can actually look at and customize it for your organization, and that's my suggestion.
Elisa, you have a question?
Measuring intangibles is highly subjective contextual and margins of error are reasonably high. How to overcome this challenge? I guess that the whole topic of HR analytics is about transforming subjectivity into objectivity. So I think it's about conducting more analysis and also actually conducting experiential design. So actually using empirical research to validate any claim. So for example, I've done some validation studies, let's say a leadership development at IM Bangalore, looking at a control group, so looking at a similar level of professionals with similar performance ratings, and then comparing one group that went on the program for 1 year, and then looking at a similar control group at the same level but who didn't go on the program, and then comparing after the program the increment in terms of their performance rating as well as their promotion. So that was found to be significantly effective as an intervention. So I think subjectivity, it's always going to be there. I think the more experience you have, the more clients you work with. It's also about tapping into your intuition. I mean, I showed that image around the left and right brain, and it's important to also tap into your experience and your gut feel as well. And I think HR is about having good judgment, and experience really helps you form good judgment. So hopefully that's clarified your question. Great.
Yes. What I asked, where is the commitment level of the individuals? Commitment, that question I asked.
Okay, commitment.
How can we measure the commitment level of the individuals from analytics?
Yeah, so I mean, commitment, I guess it's a lot of organizations use an employee survey. So you're actually tracking a rating.
Individual commitment, analytics, we use this in performance management format.
Okay.
Using this 25 years.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps we'll talk about it offline. I'm not really clear. Okay.
To me, I don't want to name this person, I don't know whether he's very comfortable. He said, sir, even though we do a lot of analytics, the most practical problem is our top management. And even middle management are too busy to understand analytics and finally takes a gut feel or ad hoc decisions. How to overcome this practical problem? So, this is a long question for a very, very simple thing. I think one of the things I told you is, get your data right. Understand the point of impact. Sit with your delivery head. Don't go to your top management. The trick in this is, if you have sold it to the delivery head, if you have proved value to him, he will take it to the top management. He will sell it for you. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you a very conventional answer. And if you want to know, we are all good in knowledge, but what we fail is, and this incidentally, within brackets is written PSU, so one can understand. There are hierarchies and bureaucracies. So my gut level feeling is, if you have sold it to the guy who is serving his customer, he pays my salary. The entire organization in Japan, we call ourselves as Muda. You know what is Muda? People are very diplomatic in my side. Muda is a waste. The entire, anybody other than operations, when you do the billing in the IT industry, they'll call you billing, and surely not billable. Whoever is billable is productive, and whoever is not, we are not billable, na? You and I, we are supposed to add value. So that's the definition. So we have to keep this team as strategic and as quantitative when you're dealing with the delivery. Because they have no time, isn't it? I mean, they have to grow their business 30%. But that my gut level feeling is, if you can actually sit down, and let me tell you, sir, with due humility, I have actually seen that the delivery guys are very, very passionate when you catch them at the end of the day. Because you go to them during business hours, it's difficult. Don't expect them to accept it. But if you can actually create value, I got an appreciation, which I never expected. He told me, you have provided thought leadership. And this is from a delivery head, who people in the organization thought is never going to recognize anybody. And I never knew that I have provided thought leadership. But that thought leadership, whatever he calls it, whatever he meant, essentially came from using tools like this. And to me, it was reassuring to know, yes, I have added value to my delivery as a first line. So have I answered the question? So that's the long and short answer. Thank you.
outsource HR analytics to specialists or keep it in-house to protect the critical data? It's a very interesting question. The HR analytics, look at it, if you want to launch even a program of HR analytics, there is a whole lot of work that needs to be done internally first. What kind of data needs you have within the organization, and what is the kind of business requirement, what are the kind of outcomes that you would like to see. And if you look at it, analytics itself is a evolving field, and there are a lot of business analysts and a lot of HR analysts and so on and so forth, functional analysts, and this entire capability of developing these analytics using the raw data and producing the metrics and using it to generate value to the organization. There is a certain amount of skill building that's required within the organizations. And if you would like to get some specialists to help out the internal talent development, that's a fantastic idea. And as far as the protection of the data is concerned, these days there are a lot of ways where you protect your very, very authentic data through non-disclosure agreements and then very covered with respect to the patent laws, copyrights and so on and so forth. So if you have the capabilities, go in-house and use all the Cognos or various BI packages or the data analytics packages that are available to use it on top of your ERPs. If you don't have it, I think it is ideal to get some little bit of help to get the program off the ground. I think that's what my suggestion is.
Christian, can you explain how to make a presentation with whole brain approach, i.e. to impress both left and right brain thinkers? Who asked that? Yeah. Essentially, it's heart and mind. So you've got to appeal to the intellectual side, so have some depth, but also connect with pictures and music and storytelling is really, really powerful to engage the right brain thinkers. So just don't bore them with the left brain data and a lot of text on the slide. So that would be generally in terms of presentation. Have I answered your question? The second question is around emotional intelligence. Do you believe in emotional intelligence by Daniel Goleman? Why have you not used EQ as a component in your presentation? I guess emotional intelligence, I do conduct workshops and I think it's quite useful in terms of how validated it is. The empirical validity is not that high, but I think practically it makes a lot of sense to organizations to build that emotional quotient capability within their organizations, particularly for people that are very, very technical, and if they now need to manage teams, and certainly building upon emotional quotient, which is essentially it's about building self-awareness, and then it's about self-management, and then it's the relationship side, so relationship management and the social awareness. So emotional intelligence is obviously a good one in that sense. I think it's probably difficult to throw in emotional quotient in a presentation on analytics, but I think hopefully I captured a little bit of the emotion by playing some funny videos and a really good song that I can't stop singing. So hopefully that's answered your question. Yeah. Thanks.
I would now request Sri YPS Governor, Honorary General Secretary, NIPM, to present the memento to the Speaker, Chairperson of today's session, Sri M.V.N. Rao.
All the dignitaries, distinguished guests, galaxy of human resource practitioners, academicians, students, press and electronic media, to the valedictory program of National Institute of Personnel Management 1980 is engaged in personal management, industrial relations, labor welfare, and human resources development. NIPM aims at promoting an awareness of professional personal management at all levels in different organizations. It organizes activities and programs at both the national and chapter levels with a view to upgrading the skills and professional standards of its members. The 3-day conference provided a platform for exchange of ideas and experience and dissemination of information on various approaches, practices, techniques in personal management, industrial relations, and human resources development. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a match of honor to have a versatile manager with a wide exposure to various aspects of personal management, industrial relations, labor, and social welfare. With immense pleasure, I invite Mr. Somesh Das Gupta, National Vice President, NIPM, Member Secretary, NIPM Board of Studies, President Corporate Advice, DPSC Limited, to grace the desk. A woman in quest of innovative lifestyle, a great visionary, who has proved herself to be effective and a dedicated Member of Parliament, Srimati Dr. Dampupati Purandeswari, Minister of State. To have a as a student administrator whose genius helped Geetham University achieve national and international recognition. With great delight, I invite Professor G. Subramaniam, Vice Chancellor of Geetham University, to grace the desk. I'm extremely happy to invite a manager who has won many commendations for his excellence in management, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sahu, Regional Vice President, Central Region.